Hey guys, Joe here. So yesterday someone had reached out because they had seen that, we were selling our business, we're sold our business. They were, I guess, not I guess, but like, no, probably like 2 years now. And he was just basically in it just seemed like a bad spot mentally that, he used to love his business and now it just sounds like, hates everything about it. The one thing that just popped into my mind, like as I was driving to drop off my son, is that like the business is not the end all be all. It's not really a marriage. Even though like when we're first, starting our businesses and everything else, it's kind of like our baby, and we put every, heart and soul and everything else. And then from there, it's like, things change. The person that we were when we started the business and the people that we are now, like, especially for me, I started my business, back in 2015, not really, trying to do it. And the person I am today, 8 years later, is just in a totally different, place. When I first started out, like I needed to make money. Like I had to, like there was no other choice. I quit my day job. I had no savings. I was in debt and everything else. And I just, had to make it work. And I kept grinding until we got to where we needed to be. And just as a person, I've grown quite a bit. Like there's a lot that I've learned in the last 8 years. And the reason why I sold my business is like I didn't like the direction that we were headed. It was, I still remember this day, like back in 2018, it was the first time in like forever that, I wasn't rich, and I'm still not rich yet. But I just, I didn't have to check my account, my bank account, like every, day. I didn't have to worry about hitting, payroll, things like that. Whereas, before, like every Wednesday, like today's Wednesday and I got to do payroll, it used to be super stressful because knowing that like tomorrow, like they're pulling the money out, I'm like, oh shit, like I need to make sure I have money. And like I didn't have to do that anymore. And like I was upset, like super upset. And I'm like, what is the problem here? This is, I built the life I kind of was trying to build. And like I'm really unhappy, and I don't know what to do at this point because, back then, it was always like, money's gonna, the whole saying money doesn't buy you happiness and everything else. I'm like, that's complete bullshit. Like, I have no money. Like that's, priority number one at this point. And then I got it, and it's like, I'm still not happy. And it's like, the quote from Tony Robbins, which is success without fulfillment is the ultimate failure. And like, it's totally true. Like that one thing that you are like so driven for so long, and then you finally get it, and then you're still unhappy. Like what the hell do you do at that point, right? And so anyway, like I just, I growing as, as an individual, you start looking at different, opportunities, and you might see that like the business that you're in, it may not be the opportunity that you're looking for anymore. Like from a few different standpoints, from a financial standpoint, from a time standpoint, from a leadership standpoint, to wearing 14 different hats standpoint, things that were exciting back in the day, they may not be in it. You just might have grown as a person. You're like, this, like now I know what I don't want, right? And for me, with starting this wholesale business, and I told my wife we're, selling the company and blah, blah, blah. And at first she thought I was nuts. But like after talking to contractors, and I'm like, I know, like after talking to them, I'm like, there's a few things we could have tweaked within our business. And like easily this year, if I would have made like probably like one, just bringing in like probably 2 salespeople that actually knew what they were doing and pay them appropriately for it, which would skyrocket our sales because we were closing at less than 8%. And, with the salespeople, I'd probably be at closer to 20, 25, 30%. So I could have went from a business that was doing between 2.2, 2.5 a year to something that's doing $5 and $6 million. And then I probably could have added an extra $5, $6, $7, $800,000 to my pocket And I asked myself, like, would I be happy with an extra $500,000 to $800,000 a year? The answer was no. And like, not that I was even making anywhere near that, but like, because we would have been able to drastically increase the sales because of the closing percent and everything else, like I literally could have made like 5, 6, 7, 8 times like what I was making now. And I asked myself, well, am I going to be happy doing this? And the answer was no. And at that point, I'm like, I'm done. Like, I'm just done. And because I prefer to burn the ship and like just make things work. But long story short, don't feel like you're stuck within a business. Look for different opportunities, but also realize as the more success that you get and the more money that you have, there's going to be more opportunities that are going to be really attractive. Alex Hormozy, if you don't follow his channel at all, he talks about this quite a bit, about the the girl in the red dress from The Matrix, where basically it's distractions, but you also have to realize, like, we also have to be happy, what we're doing. And a lot of times it might be bringing in that like one key person, because like a lot of times you might be good at like what you do, but if you don't enjoy it, you probably shouldn't do it, especially if you're building a successful business. You can start outsourcing those different areas that you really don't like and just doing what you do like. So anyway, hope it helps. Have a great day.